Welcome to Conduct and Practices Handbook, Course Chapter 1, Standards of Conduct in the Securities Industry by the Canadian Securities Institute. My name is Amin. While studying for the CPH, I started creating my own study notes and narrating them so I could learn on the go alongside the textbook. Audio learning made a huge difference for me, so I decided to share these explanations to support others who study the same way. Fair disclaimer, this content is based on CSI materials relevant to enrollments as of January 1st, 2026. CIRO is evolving its regulatory regime, so always verify that this content applies to the exams and courses you are preparing for. Let's get started with the key terms for the chapter. Canadian Investment Regulatory Organization, also known as CIRO, is the national self-regulatory organization that oversees all investment dealers, mutual fund dealers, and trading activity on Canada's debt and equity marketplaces. Duty of care. The duty an R has to a client to ensure that everything reasonably practicable is done to protect the client's assets. This involves devoting the necessary time and attention to be able to make informed decisions. Ethics, defined as a set of values or morals that guide individual behavior. Fiduciary duty, a legal term that describes a high degree of duty of care. Criteria may be used to determine whether a fiduciary duty is present in an RR-client relationship, include a high degree of reliance by the client on the RR's advice and the vulnerability of the client. In Quebec, this concept is referred to as a contract of mandate. Know your client. It's the cardinal rule in making investment recommendations. All relevant information about every client and every order must be known to ensure that all recommendations made by an IA to clients are suitable. Know your product, a companion obligation of Know Your Client. Before recommending an investment product to a client, you must understand how a product is constructed and how it is likely to perform. Registered representative. Individuals licensed to provide investment advice, often referred to as investment advisors. Suitability. An RR's major concern in making investment recommendations. All information about a client and a security must be analyzed to determine if an investment is suitable for the client in accounts where a suitability exemption does not apply. Introduction: Ethics and Compliance in Securities. Although the securities industry is highly regulated, it ultimately depends on trust, confidence, and strong ethical conduct. Registered representatives have professional responsibilities similar to doctors or lawyers, including the obligation to place clients' interests ahead of their own and to understand the liabilities of their role. Compliance involves following rules and regulations, while ethics require honoring the spirit behind those rules, especially when guidance is unclear. It is possible to follow rules yet act unethically, which is why ethical judgment is essential. This chapter introduces the standards of conduct and ethics that form the foundation of securities industry regulation. Here is a flowchart. Okay, the Canadian Investment Regulatory Organization, CIRO, is a national self-regulatory body that oversees investment dealers, mutual fund dealers, and trading activity in Canada's capital markets. CIRO regulates the conduct of registered representatives and requires them as regulated persons to comply with both its rules and high standards of ethics and conduct in all professional activities. These ethical expectations apply broadly across the industry, including investment representatives, portfolio managers, associate portfolio managers, and supervisors. Under IDPC Rule 1402, regulated persons must act fairly, openly, and in accordance with just and equitable principles of trade, and must avoid conduct that is negligent, non-compliant, unprofessional, or harmful to the public interest or investor confidence. While individual investment dealers may use different wording in their internal codes of conduct, all are aligned with CIRO standards. Breaches of these standards can result in disciplinary actions such as reprimands, fines, suspension, termination of employment, or loss of registration. Ethics are a set of values or moral principles that guide individual behavior, going beyond society's rule to inform decision-making in any situation. Unlike compliance, which focuses on following industry regulations, ethical behavior requires applying moral judgment, especially when rules are unclear or incomplete. Acting ethically means not only obeying the letter of the law, but honoring its spirit, doing the right thing for the right reasons. Ethical conduct is integrated into industry rules to guide professional behavior in the securities industry. Firm standards. All dealers have internal codes aligned with CIRO's rules. As stated before, violations can result in the following consequences. Learning Objective 2. Explain how a code of ethics is integrated with industry rules. Ethics are integrated into industry rules through measures that ensure suitable investment recommendations. For registered representatives, this involves three key obligations: knowing your client, understanding their situation, knowing your product, which is understanding what you recommend, and acting honestly in good faith and professionally. These principles guide ethical decision making alongside regulatory compliance. It's like a cake. You have your first layer, your second layer, and then your third layer. Your first is know your client, then know your product, then there's your duty of care. The Know Your Client rules require RRs to fully understand each client's financial situation, knowledge, objectives, risk tolerance, time horizon, and other relevant factors before making investment recommendations. Suitability also considers account type, trading strategy, liquidity, concentration, and costs. Gathering this information is an ongoing discovery process documented carefully in account applications and updated as client circumstances change. Suitability analysis begins early, even when deciding the most appropriate account type, and ensures all actions prioritize the client's best interests. The Know Your Product obligation requires RRs to fully understand any investment product before recommending it, including its structure, features, risks, costs, and likely performance in different market conditions. This is essential to assess suitability and properly explain the product to clients. Dealer members must also conduct due diligence, assessing, approving, monitoring monitoring products before offering them, ensuring clients can make informed decisions. Understanding and explaining complex or structured products is a key part of this responsibility. Duty of care requires RRs to provide advice honestly, in good faith, and with the appropriate skills and knowledge. It does not demand perfection or guaranteed investment outcomes, but it does require applying reasonable care under the circumstances. A fiduciary duty is a higher standard applicable when clients must trust the RR's expertise, such as RRs with discretionary authority over managed accounts. Regardless of the standards, RRs must always act fairly, honestly, and in good faith. Courts may determine whether a fiduciary duty existed based on the client's reliance and vulnerability, while order execution only accounts generally involve a lower standard of care. Learning Objective 3. Apply standards of conduct and ethics when dealing with clients. So there's rules of thumbs for RRs. Although the securities industry has no formal code of ethics, its rules imply ethical standards. So as a registered representative, you should follow these rules of thumbs when dealing with clients. Gather detailed client information, understand the products you recommend, act honestly and fairly, avoid conflicts of interest, conduct business professionally, continuously improve your knowledge, comply with laws and industry rules, and maintain a strict client confidentiality. We have a case study in this chapter. Sally. Sally is an RR who works for a mid-size ROC dealer with locations in several provinces. Upon obtaining her registration, one of the first clients that Sally acquired was an elderly man who has been trading with her regularly since. The client introduced Sally to his son, who also opened an account with her. At the time of the son's account opening, he informed Sally that his father has been forgetting things lately and wondered if he could go over his father's account details with her. Sally replied that it would be against privacy rules. The father typically follows all of Sally's recommendations. That is, all trades in the account are solicited. On occasion, Sally has left recommendations on the father's voicemail. The father had previously told Sally that if he does not call her back within 2 hours, she can execute the trade as contemplated to save time. Sally has done this a few times, including once recently concerning a recommendation of a leverage exchange traded fund, an LETF. The dealer member's product team recently introduced LETFs, but Sally was not yet trained to sell them. The father did not return the call within 2 hours, so Sally placed the trade in accordance with their agreement. Prior to the trade, Sally had not spoken with the father for about 2 weeks. Shortly after that conversation, the father was admitted to the hospital as a result of a stroke, which rendered him incapacitated. The son has now left a message on Sally's voicemail stating that he had recently opened his father's mail and discovered a confirmation of the LETF trade. He wondered how his father could have approved this trade given that he is incapacitated. In the case study, Sally violated her KYC, KYP, and duty of care obligations by recommending unsuitable products and executing trades without proper authorization, as she was not licensed as a portfolio manager. So, to ensure compliance, RRs must know their clients, understand the products they recommend, and confirm suitability for every transaction. Dealer members are also responsible for proper training and supervision and can be held liable if these obligations are not met.